Hi, I'm Jonah Comstock, editor-in-chief at Pharmaphorum, and I'm joined by Dr. Li Mao, Chief Medical Officer at Betta Pharmaceuticals, and Dr. Giovanni Selvaggi, Chief Medical Officer at Xcovery. We're going to talk a little bit about, we're at ASCO, I think I forgot to say, we're day 2 of ASCO. We're going to talk a little bit about news you guys are bringing to the show, and then we'll talk a little bit about sort of trends. So first of all, for folks who don't know, tell me a little bit about Betta and then about Xcovery.
Okay, so Betta Pharmaceutical is the innovative drug developer in China. We are like mid-sized biopharma company. Start from the discovery, clinical development, and the manufacture and the commercial. So it's the full line of integrated biopharma company, and we are doing new drug development focus on oncology at this moment. And we had first generation EGFR TKI marketed in China, which is domestically produced. And then we continue work on in the lung cancer area at multiple target therapy, including the ALK inhibitor, which is Certinum, approved by end of 2025 in US. Of course, this drug was approved in China early on, and now we in the commercial stage. Beside that, the company now focus on platform development, and from small molecule enter into the large molecule space. We partner with a number of global biotech companies to do the new drug development in China. At this moment, we have 9 commercial products marketed in China, and one joined together with Xcovery. We are marketing this in the United States. In the next few years, beside the oncology focus, we may further expand to autoimmune, the metabolic disease area.
And Dr. Selvaggi, tell me a little bit more about Xcovery and about this partnership.
So Xcovery is a biotech company based in Miami, in Florida, in the US, and just brought to market as a small company an ALK inhibitor and Certinib, approved by FDA at the end of 2024, and now we're launching commercially the drug. And we've been around almost 10 years, and almost from the beginning partnering with Betta to co-develop the drug globally as Xcovery and in China for Betta.
Wow, so almost 10 years. I mean, I think everyone's talking right now about the larger role that China is playing in biotech and pharma and drug development, but you guys have been working together in both those markets for a long time.
Yeah, so actually Giovanni and I, we worked together back to the 2019.
2019.
I remember 2019. Yes. It is a long time. As you know, develop new drug is a long journey, and we are very happy to have this stage have commercially the product in the United States and quickly probably European nations as well. And we are in our pipeline because the Xcovery is now the subsidiary company, and our pipeline now contain several potentially first-in-class, best-in-class molecules, and we intend to have global development through our subsidiary in the US, the Xcovery, and very excited to looking for the future. And we do believe this partnership is going to last, and they're moving forward pretty well.
So tell me, both of you, about what brings you to this conference and the news that you're sharing at ASCO.
So ASCO is clearly the best conference of the year for oncology, where all the innovation is presented. For us, it's important to be here. All the key opinion leaders and the new science is presented at the conference. So for us, it's an incredible opportunity to exchange ideas, set the stage for new programs, and meet all the relevant stakeholders. Yes, and we're setting the basis for more exciting developments.
Yeah, in the space of this ALK inhibitor, we did have several posters presented in the investigator initial study, and we had presentation in our adjuvant study, which is phase 3 study, in the last ASCO in Berlin, and this year, here, one purpose we are gathering our the advisors to really let them understand how this and certain them the position and how we can benefit the future patients. We have our adjuvant study is going to be published soon, and with that publication, we may further engage with the stakeholders to see how we can have this molecule to benefit the patients in the adjuvant or the early stage lung cancer setting, which we are very excited to see how this molecule can help our patients, not only in China and also in the US and broader.
There's been so much discourse lately about Chinese biotech and the way that the scene is changing over there. Less Me Too, more original drugs. What's your experience been, sort of both with your own company and sort of like as part of that ecosystem?
Yeah. No, it's a very good question. I joined industry 2016. Was because most of my career in academic institution at Giovanni also spent lots of time in the university setting. And the reason I joined the industry was at the time Johnson & Johnson wanted to develop Global Lung Cancer Center, which spearhead to help to set up that initiative. With very high ambition, but at that time in China, the most we are like fast follow. In the past 5 years, actually, the true innovation coming from China increasingly become a very important part of the ecosystem in the novel drug development, particularly in the ADC space. Because the size and the patient population and the investment environment in China and foster a number of biotech companies with innovation, because those are not in the US. Typically, if we're talking about the new targets and underlying biology, US has deep rooted the advantage. But you get into the proven target, and we'll talk about combination and different payload, different antibody and linker, how you do this combination, then the size and the patient population play a very important role in that development. So now you can see increasingly big pharma start licensing these assets from China, and this trend is going to continue. And I foresee that bilateral partnership will increasingly become important, even though the Sino-US political environment can change. But I do believe eventually, for the patients, I think both countries will work together to further advance, this drug development area. So.
Anything to add, Giovanni?
No, I think it's a perfect moment for synergy of advancing new science. Clearly, the biotech sector in the US has been suffering from funding from the post-pandemic days till today. There's less investment, and so there's a struggle for innovation and research. And this partnership with China that has, again, incredible innovation and will support the lack of discovery that is happening in the US and the high cost that US companies are sustaining for their discovery programs. So that's I think it's the perfect storm to combine what's going on in China and then develop it further in the US. For now, it's working this way, yeah. Hopefully. And we did it almost 10 years ago, in a sense, when nobody was doing it. So like you just said earlier, I think this partnership is being almost ahead of the times, and it's been working very well.
Really quick before we wrap, it's day 2, so we're still early in the conference. But anything you guys have seen or heard trends wise, that's interesting to you, kind of trying to look at the bigger picture of what's going on in oncology at this conference.
I think from the lung cancer standpoint, I think yesterday the couple presentations very intriguing and exciting. One is that Wukong 28, which is target exon 20 mutation, John Himet from Anderson presented that very exciting. I think that was set a new standard, potential standard for these the niche the mutation population. I think from Dr. Chai-Sun Zhou presented that OptiChop Lung 05 is also very exciting. The first the ADC plus the IO demonstrated the substantial improvement of disease-free survival, and I think that was set a new paradigm with the RO in combination with ADC. I think that's they're very important. Of course, in the ONC field, the updated cron data showing outstanding brain control, which is I think it's very important for this particular field.
Anything to add?
Yes, I mean, we're all looking at, especially in lung cancer, at increased precision medicine. There's a much higher focus on selecting patients properly for specific therapies. I think today there's been a session dedicated to targeting KRAS mutations and how to combine with the chemotherapy and with immunotherapy. So the field is really trying to maximize the anti-tumor efficacy of all these different agents. And we have a lot of tools now to predict which patients are benefiting from which intervention. So again, molecularly driven cancers, the immunotherapy, and we will hear at the plenary the bispecific story, again, from Summit and Akeso on the VEGF PD-1 bispecific. So there's a lot of work on precision medicine and making this survival in lung cancer better and better to almost making it become a chronic disease. So that's exciting. We're looking at survivals in specific subtype of tumors for 8-9 years, which was unheard of 5 or 10 years ago.
Great. Yeah, that diagnostics piece I keep hearing about, screening, genomic screening. And obviously, right before the conference, ASCO made a change to their recommendations, and I think in colorectal cancer. So we are really seeing a big emphasis on that.
Yeah. In fact, I think you mentioned about the precision and the diagnostic. I think very important in terms of moving to earlier disease, and then in terms of drug development, the duration can be very long. So how we, how we deal with the challenging, the one of the way to do is use so-called intermediate biomarker to guide the clinical study and have early approval. And of course, you can have a real-world study to further to validate whether this result can translate into long-term survival. But because now in the adjuvant setting, even near adjuvant setting, you look at the survival and endpoint may take a decade to fulfill. And I remember a couple of years ago in one of ESMO meeting, the panel was talking about if we follow that traditional path for the regulatory approval, then once the result come out, the drug already lost the patent. So how we resolve this to balance how the industry needs and also patient. Eventually, we do all those things for patients. How we can quickly get patients to have access to this innovative medicine. I think the validated intermediate endpoint is very important. The RMD, the residual minimal residual disease is one of the area people now focus on. The FDA had the panel, discuss about the validity. I think the multiple myeloma already have the recommendation in some area in breast cancer. There's some precedence in the lung cancer. This has not been become, the validated, it's called validated FDA, standard. But I think that the commonly move towards this area to improve the sensitivity of the test and the quality of the test. And I think probably in the near future, and more adoption may come. So which will make these kind of study in the early stage disease become possible. And so I hope that will happen.
Well, thank you both. I think that's probably past time for us. But I really appreciate you taking
Yeah.
the time to chat with me at the show.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.